I've been busy. I have had kids. We're settling into fatherhood. I had quit all side hustles for like a year and a half, and to be honest, raising kids was tiring, just getting them through the baby stage, and you're losing sleep. You got so much on your plate. I just didn't have time for side hustles. So I just fell back onto my normal job, no side hustles, and kind of lived paycheck to paycheck for the past year and a half just to get through this early fatherhood. But now my son is almost 2. My daughter is almost 6 months, 5 months, somewhere around there. She's going to be starting solid foods pretty soon. And once they're around that age, things lighten up a little bit. So we've fallen into this role of fatherhood. I took my time. I didn't want to rush through it. I didn't want to be busy with side hustles while I'm trying to raise these babies and learn how to be a father. So that's where we came to. And now, after all this resting and everything, I finally decided, okay, it's time to start another side hustle. I thought about going back into reselling on eBay, but I've seen that people's sales are down, and I didn't want to take that route again. Even though it's still an option, we might go back to eBay. But till then, I wanted to come up with something that was a little bit more authentic to me. So I'm always watching carpentry videos. People make some amazing things. But one of the problems is that I always see the comment, oh, it must be nice if you have $10,000 or $20,000 of equipment in a beautiful big shop. And most carpenters don't start there. They start when they're young with a few basic tools that they can get off Facebook Marketplace. So I got together some of the broken tools I had, cheap drill, broken sander, Black & Decker jigsaw, and I have a small table saw, a DeWalt one, just like a job site type saw at home, and a basic chop saw. Like, these are equipment that you can find really cheap on Facebook Marketplace if you do some searching and don't mind some used equipment. So it's pretty easy to start. And it just so happened to be my birthday, and somebody gave me a Lowe's gift card for $25. And I thought, okay, what can I make with this $25 to multiply it, to grow it? So this is how this side hustle got started. And I started looking at some videos on what kind of things you can make for pretty cheap and with very basic tools. I fell on this guy's, so I'll link his video in the comments. Check it out if you want to see like where I got this idea from, how he did it. I kind of just basically followed his steps because I wanted people to see like you can follow other people's steps, especially if they're telling you to make these things because they sell them. Now, once again, if you want the full detailed version of how to build these, just go check that guy's video out. He did a really good job, and anyone could follow it with the basic tools. There is a couple of things different that I did. I used more glue than he did, just because I wanted him to hold. Also, I was using a little bit longer brad nails, and so I shot mine at an angle and created little wedges inside the wood with my nails. This should hold better. I noticed he was just shooting them straight in, but I always thought that if you shoot nails at a slight angle, they hold better, especially if there's a whole bunch of different angles from different nails. Just seems to hold better. Once again, if you're using a table saw, just make sure you're doing it safe and what you're comfortable with. The big part of carpentry is knowing your tools, and the more you work with them, the more comfortable you get around them, but the more also that you know of the safety things. So the assembly was fun just because I don't always get to use like a brad nailer. In total, these 2 planters took me an hour to cut, assemble, glue, and seal. One of the problems was I had a brad nail stuck in my nail gun as soon as I started, and so it took me like 20 minutes to get that out, but I included that time because sometimes equipment fails, and that takes up time in your work. So altogether, it took an hour to build these 2 planters, and it shouldn't take you an hour to build 2 planters, but it did with mine because of that stuck nail. I could not get it out. It took every tool and all my knowledge to get it out, but eventually I got it. I think I would rather use staples here. I think they would hold twice as well, but since he used brad nails, I used brad nails. Mine were just a little bit longer than his. And you'll see me accidentally poke a few through by not paying attention. And I'll fix those with a hammer. If you're wondering what I'm listening to, we are going through 1 Corinthians in my Sunday school. So I've been listening to 1 and 2 Corinthians over and over. If you download the free YouVersion Bible app, it will literally read the Bible to you. And I always suggest everyone to go through the whole Bible from cover to cover at least once, just so you know like what all is in the Bible. You can see what the truth is, when you hear lies, stuff like that. If you're not a Christian, at least go through the Gospels. I feel like they are really reliable eyewitness accounts of Jesus, and you should just give them a chance. At least go through them once, just so you know. But yeah, I do that. If I don't listen to that, then I'm usually listening to like YouTube channels play and stuff. Any of like the Jordan Peterson debates on stage and stuff. It keeps my mind busy as I'm doing carpentry. Once you get about 25 years in carpentry in, you kind of just go into autopilot mode. You could read any tape and memorize it and not even realize you're doing it. Some days I'll listen to 8 hours of music and look up and I've built a shed. So that happens. When all was said and done, after I figured nails, glue, the wood, and then the Thompson sealer, which I had left over from another project, it came out to $18.25 pure planter. So I'm going to throw them on Humble Social, and then I'm going to see what people think they're worth. Now, after doing that for about a day, most people think they're worth about 35. I put 25 to 35, and most people were on the 35. A couple people were on the 25. So I'm going to start them off at 35 on Facebook Marketplace, and we will see what we get. But if they don't sell in the first week, I'll drop that price and just continue to drop it until they sell. And hopefully we make a profit. Here's the planters finished. They turned out absolutely amazing. So at this point, they were on Facebook Marketplace for 3 weeks. Now, normally in the side hustle, you would just sit there and wait for these things to sell before you have money to reinvest and build some other things, but I didn't want to sit idle. I sold this card from my tiny collection. Don't think that I have a whole bunch of crazy baseball cards, but I sold this one for $70. I took that $70 and built this bench. It's a 4-foot love seat out of pressure treated wood. I didn't record that. I lost the file on it and it's corrupted. I don't know, tech problems. But I put it out next to the road along with my planters, and they were on Facebook Marketplace, and nothing sold for like 3 weeks. I didn't get any calls or anything. But eventually somebody I knew came by and was like, hey, I've been looking for planters. Here's the money, I'll take them. I eventually sold these planters for $25 a piece. So I made $6.75 on each of those just because I took a lower price of $25 to move on. If you would sit around and wait for $30 or $40, the guy in the video said he was making them for $40 a piece. I'm not sure I could sell them for that in my area. And so if you're in a different area, you might have better luck with that. So this kind of stuff is hard to sell on Facebook Marketplace because there's so much competition. The bench I made was a little bit more, it's taller, it has more support, it's more comfy than most of the benches out there. And so people who are looking for like high back outdoor furniture that you can really just rest into instead of that low back that just leaves your head hanging, it seemed to be like a good fit, and there's not a lot of people making that stuff. So it sold. I sold the bench for $190, so there's $100 profit there. There's $12 profit on there, and so we're gonna move on to our next items. But that just goes to show you, it doesn't take much to get into woodworking. Now, this is not like a $50,000 table that has, you know, fancy walnut in it. It's just taking some materials you have laying around and making things. You can also make things out of free pallets, but I just happened to have that gift card and thought, why not do something that's a little bit more scalable? So in the first month of our side hustle, we've made $112. So that's the profit, but we're gonna take this whole $240 and we're gonna turn it into some more stuff. So stay tuned for the next video. I might even make some more planners because they were so simple to make. If you have anything that I should make in this side hustle, leave it in the comments below. I'll see it